So when you hear that, that means we're being recorded.
Your voice changed.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's my Terminator. It's my Terminator voice. Okay. Naomi, you have a question, Mariko?
Yeah. So when you record it, after you record it, where do you post it? Now, how do you post it?
Well, what happens is that it basically, what happens is that the software turns it into a video. And then what Naomi does is she posts it on YouTube. So Naomi, I'm just making you co-host now, so that when people enter the room, you can let them in. And
Okay.
if you don't know what I just did, I'll gonna explain it actually in the presentation.
Well, if I can explain to Mariko about the recording. So
Yes.
your Zoom will give you a choice of recording to the cloud or to your computer. I would suggest doing it to the cloud, because you do it on your computer, it might take up too much room. So once you record on the cloud, okay, and you have to end the recording at the end of the meeting, right? You go back to your Zoom, and there's another link for recording. So that's where you download the recordings. It's going to give you an audio. It's three things: audio and the chat, and then the MP4. Now the MP4, if you want to share that, you need to convert it to a YouTube. So you got to go on YouTube, do a YouTube channel, and upload the MP4 to YouTube. Once you got it on YouTube, then you just share that link. Okay, but you got to clean out your Zoom once in a while, because it'll tell you you only have so much storage. Maybe yours with the Pro, you have more storage, but you got to make sure that you clear it out. Otherwise, you're not going to have room to make more recordings.
Okay, so everybody nod your head if that made sense to you. Now, if it didn't make sense, that's okay, because we have time and we're gonna work through that. Myself, I mean, Naomi had to kind of walk me through it, because I'm really good at operating the meetings and I can record them, but it's all that stuff afterwards, of course, the really important stuff that you don't want to miss. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation here. Let's see, here we go. So now I'm doing something called sharing the screen, and we're going to talk about that here in a second, since my screen can share. All right, everybody can see that? So give me the give me the nod. Okay. All right, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to minimize you guys so that I can't really see you guys, so I can see the presentation. Okay, so we're gonna talk about virtual meetings and basically all the different things that you can do with them. All right, so online meetings, what Nancy said earlier, it's the new normal. So if you haven't accepted the reality of that, be the moment that you would want to do that, because it's never going to go away. Okay, so that's our new normal, but we got to accept that and go on with it. All right, here's the most popular platforms. Now Zoom is the most now, because a lot of people are on it. Microsoft Teams is a popular one. Google Meets is a pretty popular one, and then GoToMeeting. I actually came off of a GoToMeeting, very, very similar to Zoom. Now, Zoom had some concerns when it first came out, because so many people were using it so widely that people were bombing meetings, which means that, unauthorized people were showing up into the meeting. And once they got in your meeting, they could actually get control of it. They could share their screen. They could show pornography. They could do whatever they wanted. So what Zoom did to prevent those two things, okay, is they made what's called a waiting room. And on my Zoom account, my waiting room, that particular thing is activated. So it's one of these boxes that you click. And what that means is that nobody can come directly into the meeting. They have to go to a waiting room so that you can see who they are, and then you can click on admit them or not admit them. You can do that. Okay, so while I'm running the meeting, I made Naomi the host, and so if anybody comes in, she's gonna take a look and see if they're okay, and then she's gonna bring them in. The other thing that Zoom did is on a lot of accounts, like on the accounts that I use, you can also have a password. That's usually a 6-digit number as a password. So those two things basically solve the security issues that Zoom was having. But these are the four most popular platforms, and a lot of people like Google Meets in the education field where everybody's connected by Google. A lot of people use that. I know that in some of the groups that I work with, like I work with a Native Hawaiian group, which is OHA, Kamehameha Schools, and all the Chamber of Commerce, the Native Hawaiian chambers, they use Microsoft Teams. So it's just kind of a, you know, what you want to use. They're all about the same. There's other platforms. I won't go into much of them. There's platforms called Blue Jeans, and Blue Jeans is basically an educational one. So is WebEx. But you know, I mean, if you guys are interested, you can look into them. There's also a Facebook platform called Workplace. Okay, Zoom's the most widely used basic account. Is free. Now the free account is pretty good, except it expires after 40 minutes. So, you know, like a lot of people use the basic account, you know, just for like their family or their friends, and they get together once a week and they talk story. And then when the thing goes off in 40 minutes, everybody logs off, and then you can log back on again. So, you know, it's 40 minutes at a time. But if you want a pro account, which I recommend that you do it at least that. There's business accounts and then an enterprise account that's beyond that. The pro account's $14.99 a month, about $180. If you want to get the enterprise account or the business account, it's about $20 a month. I'll come back to this zoom.us/support. Everything you ever wanted to know about Zoom is at that address. So it can tell you anything, teach you to do anything. They have some amazingly very simple videos and tutorials on there. So if you're on Zoom and you want to know more about Zoom and you want to get into the fine details, which we probably won't cover all of them tonight, that's your address, and go to that. I already talked about the security issues, because in some places like Hawaii County, not allowed to use Zoom because they had security issues at the forefront of it when they first came out. And I believe military computers now cannot use Zoom yet. So they may open it up now that security has been resolved on that. Okay, so if you go to this, you know, zoom.us.support, you'll find little videos like this one that says how to invite others to the meeting in the Zoom app. You know, it's an app you can actually, the cool thing about Zoom is that you can download the Zoom app on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, on your desktop. So there's an app for all of that. And we have a lot of people that come to Zoom meetings, at least a lot of them that I'm on, just on their phone. You know, like Doug. See, you know, you can tell he's driving around, he's bicycling on his bike, but he's in the meeting, okay? All right, so navigation. So let me talk about this, all right? So if you go down to the bottom of your screen, right, you're gonna see these mic and video icons. These are kind of self-explanatory. If you hit the mic icon, then basically you cut your mic off. And as an etiquette thing, you should always be muted if you're not speaking in a meeting, because you'd be surprised how sensitive these microphones are on your computer or whatever device you're on, and they can pick up background noise. Like for me, I'm up in Volcano, and unfortunately I have birds, I have chickens, I have dogs, I have every kind of animal you could imagine. And if I'm in a meeting, if I don't either shut those guys up or sedate them, and I have my mic open, everybody's going to hear the zoo over here. Now you're going to see these, if you're down at the bottom now looking at that dashboard, you're going to see up arrows, and you click on those up arrows, you'll get microphone, you know, little things that you can do. You can go on speaker mic, all of that kind of stuff. And then on the other arrow that's next to the camera, it'll allow you to do other things like do virtual backgrounds. Let me see. Let me come back over here and see if I can do that. Okay. Well, when I get off the share screen, I'll show you how to do virtual backgrounds. Like you see the background that's behind Sandy and the one that's behind Naomi and the one that's behind Joe. You can actually put these backgrounds behind you. There's actually rotary backgrounds that you could put. Naomi, do you have a rotary background that says rotary? Can you put one up so people can see it?
I have my rotary background now.
Oh, okay, cool. See, yeah, Mariko has a rotary background. So yeah, if you want to be super cool and you can have all kinds of different backgrounds, you can put backgrounds in. I'll flip through. I got about 12 different ones, depending on, you know, what background I want. Okay, so the other things that are down there, the participants, if you hit on that participant, you get to see who's in the room. Now, what I'd like to do in the meetings that I have, and you guys are all pretty good, is that people will come in and they just have their phone number, or they'll have like, you know, Benny's computer or something like that. I can actually change their name or ask them to change it, and they can actually just click on those little 3 dots that are in their picture, and they can rename themselves. So, you know, make sure that everybody can, you know, you can see everybody's name. Because so one of the things about online meetings is that, you know, like a teacher in a classroom, you actually can see everybody. And if you can see everybody's name, then you can actually engage them. Like you can say, okay, so what are you guys doing in your meeting, Chuck? Or Paul, tell me what's happening up in Volcano. And that's actually a huge advantage in terms of being able to facilitate a conversation. So the point is just make sure that everybody's properly named when you look at them. If you don't have the time to do it in your meeting, then assign a co-host. Now you're a host. So then when you scroll over the names and the participants, when you hit somebody's name, it'll say mute, so you can mute them, or it'll say more. Okay. Sharon, you had a question.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I could interrupt you while
Yeah,
you're
you
making
just,
your present. Okay.
yeah, you raised
But
your hand.
is your Zoom okay? When we hit participants, I see down at the bottom raise hand, yes, no,
Yes,
go slow.
yes, yeah.
Now, when I'm doing my Zoom meeting, I don't see these icons like raise hand. So, you know, it's like people have to personally raise their hand for me to see who has a question. So are you on a different type of Zoom? Are you, the district
Well,
one is a different, is not a pro or, yeah, a pro account?
Well, you should be able to see them actually on all of them. Yeah, you should be able to see them on all of them, but sometimes if you like you can hit participant, and you can do actually participant full screen, and when you do it on full screen, it actually kind of gives you more options because you can see more. But the raise hand thing is actually on should be on every Zoom account where you can actually raise your hand. Now I can go into it and I can hit lower your hand, and then it just kind of takes it away.
Hey, Benson.
Yes.
This is Paul. On mine, if I go to reactions, it gives
Yes.
me a raised hand and a thumbs up. So you can do it there if you need it.
Yeah, you can. So at the end, you see reactions. So reactions will either give you the thumbs up or give you a clap. It doesn't actually give you any negative reactions. So you can type those out in the chat. So so in the chat, which is the next thing I want to talk about. So in the chat, you can you know, say things. You can ask questions in the chat. You can put links in the chat. You can you can do greetings. Now in the chat, what I do want to tell you is that you can also have private conversations. Like if I want to say something just to Mariko, then what I can do is when I hit chat, I find Mariko's name, I click on it, and then I say, hey, Mariko, how are you doing? Da, 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 da. You know, hey, how about that Paul? Isn't he kind of a, you know, whatever. Now, what I want to make sure that you know is that when we're recording this, if I save the chat, all of those private conversations come out in the chat. Okay, so yeah, so the chat wouldn't be a place where you would want to put anything derogatory down. Now, what I'll talk about later is that the chat is also a place where people come in and say hello to everybody, but they also, like, if they have to excuse themselves or they have to leave early, one of the kind of Zoom etiquette things is to say, hey guys, I have to take off. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys later. Okay, so that's kind of the chat thing. Now, one of the most important things, obviously, is to record, and you hit that record button, you start recording, you hit it again, it stops recording. Paul talked about the reaction. Typically, there's 2 reactions, a thumbs up and a clap. So you can use those. I mean, I know the speakers appreciate that. But the number one thing that any person who's running a Zoom meeting needs to understand is share screen, okay? And that's what I'm doing now. So that's why you can see this presentation that I have. So what share screen means is that, like, if you want to do a PowerPoint presentation like what I'm doing, right? So what I would do ahead of time is I would go to my file, I would find this presentation, I would bring it up in my computer, all right? So it's ready to go. So then when I hit share screen, and basically it takes me to whatever screens I have open on my computer, I can click on the one I want to share with the group. And then once I click on it and I hit share, then it'll open it up and everybody on the screen can see it. All right. Now, one of the, and you can put pictures, you can put documents up there, you can put PowerPoints up there. Now, if you want to run a video, you can run a video. The thing about a video that you have to remember is that on Zoom accounts, when you hit the video will start, but there's a little button down there that says enable sound. So if you've got to hit that enable sound, or people will be chatting, going, Vincent, I can't hear the sound, I can't hear the sound. Okay, enable sound. Joe, you got your hand up. Did you have a question? You got to unmute yourself, brother. Yeah, down at the bottom, that little microphone thing.
Okay, hey, sorry. Can anybody share, or is only the host can share?
Well, only the host can share. Only one person can share at a time. But what the host can do is that the host can assign like a co-host, or I could, like, if I made you, Joe, the host, then you'll be able to show your screen. Now on mine, because on the pro account, they have like a security icon there. And what I can do is I can press it and I can allow everybody in the meeting to share a screen. And so if I'm on a big meeting where there's going to be several presenters, so at the beginning of it, I click on this, it's shield, and you don't see it on your account. You have to have actually a pro account and be a host to see the shield, but it says security under it. And one of the things you can do is you can allow everybody in the meeting to share a screen. Now I can't show you that little shield account, that little shield icon, but if you have one of those, it also allows you to do for security measures, you can actually remove a participant. Okay, so if you know, Lorraine was acting up and I decided, you know what, I had enough of Lorraine, I can hit my little security shield, okay, and one of the pop-up menu will be remove participant. When I click on that, there's a list of all the names, and then if I hit Lorraine, she's basically gets zipped out of our meeting, which Lorraine, I would never do. I mean, yeah, I'm just using you as an example. But I wouldn't, because I tried to, you know, when I was doing a little Zoom class, I was demonstrating this thing, like how to remove somebody. But I didn't realize that once you remove somebody, they cannot come back into your meeting. So they're out for good. So even if they're chatting to you on the side, like, please let me in, I'll be good, no can do. Okay. They're out, and they are out for the duration of the meeting. Okay, so the powers of the host, right? So the host can make somebody else a host. The host can open it up so everybody can share a screen. The host can share a screen. The host can mute somebody. They can unmute somebody. So, you know, if you want to, if you're the person that just really relishes the big ego trip, be a host on Zoom, because then you are all powerful and you can disintegrate the world, basically. And then, you know, what's really cool is at the end, there's a button that comes on where when you guys leave the meeting, you can say end and leave the meeting. Okay, there's a long thing that comes on. It's right. It goes end the meeting for all. And when you hit that, it just basically disintegrates everybody on the screen. So yeah, you know, there's a kind of a cool thing you can do. Okay, all right. So question about this is the hybrid meeting, right? Sharon, you had a question?
What is the etiquette about leaving a meeting? Do you just say goodbye, everybody, and then me being the host, I just end all, or let everybody just leave the meeting by themselves?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna actually I have a whole slide on Zoom etiquette, and so I'm gonna cover that one because people that are new to Zoom meetings, that haven't been on them, they do all kinds of really crazy things. So I'm gonna go over those with you, and then you should go over them with your club members, because I mean, within my work, and I'm part of a lot of different organizations, I see, I mean, I'm going to tell you some stuff you won't even believe that I've seen on a Zoom meeting because people don't understand the etiquette of Zoom meetings. But Sharon, that's a terrific question. Okay, so a hybrid meeting is basically 2 meetings in one, right? So it's a Zoom meeting and it's a regular in-person meeting. So the easiest way to do one is basically, like for me, I could have my laptop right where I'm at, and then right behind, you know, I could have this on my podium as I'm the speaker or running the meeting, and then right behind me, I could have my whole Rotary Club behind it. Now, there's of course some inherent problems with that. Is that the people that are watching me can only see me and they can't see the audience. And then the audience that are out there can't see the other people in the meeting. So there's a couple of different remedies to that, right? Like Chuck was saying earlier, you know, you can have one computer that's facing me, and you can have somebody else on a different Zoom account with their computer facing forward, so that they can see the group. You can plug, if you have a HDMI cable on a television set, you can project what's on your screen out like on a television set, so that everybody in the meeting that's live in person in the meeting can see the people that are on Zoom. So there's lots of different ways to do it based upon it's really the technological level of the people that are in your club, and what they're willing to do so that everybody can see. So you know, the more computers, if you have computers at the meeting, and the more different ways you have them facing, the more people can see and be involved in the meeting. You know, the absolute you know, best way is if you had a big TV screen, and then also a camera that went out into the audience, right? So you guys that are in the audience can see the people that are online, and the online people can see the people that are in the audience. I mean, that's basically the goal of a hybrid meeting. So is that confusing? Does anybody want to like a further idea about that? Has anybody tried something different that works pretty good for them? No? Anybody? Yes, Wes.
So Benson, what will be the situation when the speaker's coming on via Zoom also? So you got members on Zoom, you got the speaker on Zoom, you got a room full of, well, you got members sitting around a table. So would that make a difference?
Well, if you had the speaker coming on Zoom, then you would want to have a computer or some kind of like I would basically just use a flat TV. You take an HDMI cable out of your computer and you plug it into the TV, and that should take basically his video plus the sound. Now, you can also, if you want, out of the like the headphone input in your computer, you could take that and run it into your sound system so that the speaker's sound can be broadcast at a higher volume than what it'll come out of the TV or the computer. So that's a way that you could do it. Chuck, did you have a question? Were you raising your hand? No. Okay. Yes, Lonnie.
I have noticed when we have like a couple that both of them are members, when they both try to get on Zoom on their own computers, there's feedback from the
Yes.
same.
Yeah. Yes, there's feedback. So if you have more than one device, so like some people will log on. You're right. Like we have that with Mark and Kathleen, right? Because they're both in the same room and they're both on computers. So one of those sound sources, it has to be turned down or has to be turned off. Otherwise you're going to get that feedback. Or the other thing that you could do is you could have one of those is do headphones. Okay. Somebody else had their hand up. Anybody else had a question about this? Okay.
We have a projector that we hook up to a computer and then we run the PowerPoint.
Yes.
These things.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do it. You can do it on a computer. I mean, on a projector, and we're probably gonna do it that way with a projector. So the projector will project basically what is on your screen, so that the your audience can see it. But the people that are on the screen won't be able to see anything unless you've got some kind of camera that's going out into the audience. That's the only thing. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me get on to the next slide here. All right. So here's basic etiquette. Okay. Now, you would think that this goes without saying, but you have to dress appropriately. And even though you can only see this much of me, I am wearing pants. Okay. Because what happens is really crazy is that people wear a shirt on and then they're sitting there in their underwear or whatever, and then they get up. Okay, they get up and then they forget that they're not wearing any pants. So I mean, I've seen that like a number of times. You think that's crazy, funny, but people do that. So one of the things so there's two remedies to that. One, you can wear some pants, okay? The second thing that you can do is that you can cut your camera when you stand up. So I would recommend that to turn your, this is like the fourth one down, turn your video off, and you should have a picture of yourself, right? Because when you have a Zoom account, you can actually put a picture of yourself or a picture of whatever you want. Like if Mariko turned her camera off, Mariko, turn your camera off, because I think you have a picture of yourself there, right? Yeah, and so I'm gonna, see, there's a picture of Mariko. So like if I turn my camera off, okay, see there's a picture of me. So have a picture in there. So if you need to get up, if like a bat flies in the room or something happens that you don't want people to see, then turn your video off. Okay. The other thing is that when you're on there, at least look like you're paying attention, because I've been in meetings where people are like fast asleep, or they're like, they're just out because they don't realize that their camera is on. Okay, so they're digging their nose, doing whatever, I mean, your camera is on. If you decide to leave your camera on, then remember that it's on. And that you should always be muted if you're not speaking. And this is a critical one because, you know, if everybody unmuted their microphones right now, even though it's kind of quiet and it's, I don't know, 7:30 at night or whatever, there's background noise. Like I'm speaking loud enough to drown out the cookie frogs out there, but you know, there would be some background noise. And in a lot of places where people like live, where there's traffic going by, you know, there's jets going over, it can drown it out. So use the chat to, you can ask questions in the chat. You can say hi, everybody. You can say goodbye. So what I do at the end of a meeting, Sharon asked the question about the end of a meeting. I'll just say, hey guys, thanks a lot for coming. And then I give everybody probably about 30 seconds and then I just end the meeting. Okay, because what I have found is that if you don't close the meeting and, you know, take it down, then people will stay on there. Just, hey man, so Mariko, you know, what are you gonna do next week? And so Wes, you've been fishing lately, or I mean, they'll just start talking. Okay, so you just say, okay guys, I'm gonna end the meeting. Okay, goodbye. You know, and then you end the meeting. Okay. So is there anybody else who would like to add an etiquette piece on? Yes, Wes.
Is there any etiquette with regards to eating? Because our meetings are at lunch and we have members eating, we have members not eating. And most of the people eating will click the video off because they don't want to see us eating.
Yes. Yeah. The etiquette for eating during a meeting is to turn your video off. Just to turn your camera off, and then some people even say that. Some people say, "Hey, I'm going to eat my lunch. I'm turning my video on, but I'm here." You know, and so that's a really common thing. I mean, I mean, I should be eating my dinner right now, right? And eating is a widely accepted thing on Zoom. Okay, and people are eating all the time, but for me, on the regular meetings, when I see them cut their video, I know they're eating. Okay, but that's okay. That's a fine thing. But it's okay. It's okay to do that. So if you're gonna get up and go to the restroom or whatever, cut your video so that you can get up, go do whatever you need to do, come back. If somebody comes in the room and starts talking to you, hopefully your mic has been muted, but you can cut your video too for something like that. Okay, Sue has her hand raised. There's three. That said 3 people raise their hand. Anybody? No.
How do you load a picture?
Well, you can have a picture. You know, download a picture. If you ever have a picture that's downloaded, you just kind of bring it up and then share screen, and that picture is on your screen. So everybody can see it, right? Yeah, share screen. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can. Let me try to. Okay. So one of the things that one of you guys brought up is that now that you're online, I think Nancy was saying, I mean, you can have the members that are in the mainland in wherever. I was on a meeting that had people in Europe, people in Japan. Now, unfortunately, the time zone that Hawaii is in, it seems like it doesn't really make that much difference to anybody else. But the ideal worldwide time is 9 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, which if you do the math, it's 3 a.m. Hawaii time. So that's why our Rotary International Convention is, you guessed it, 3 a.m. Hawaii time. Because if you want to involve most of the world in your meeting, it's typically not a really good time for Hawaii time. But whenever you have your meetings, what's kind of cool now is that you can have speakers that are on the mainland. You can have speakers that are overseas. I think, Lorraine, you guys had somebody, right? You had Rich's daughter that was on?
Yes, Richard Cunningham's daughter came in from London.
Yeah, and so how did that go?
Well, I don't think that she had a great, I mean, I think she was in a weird time zone. It wasn't like her normal waking hours, but it went really well. It was cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just as an example, right? So here's Hilo Bay Club, and their speaker is in London. So now you can use your imagination. You can put it out to your club members. You can put it out to actually any club members. So if somebody has really good speaker, I know Maui has done a really good job in getting some really good speakers together. Yeah, now you can put them out there, and we can book them on the Big Island. You can book them on Honolulu, in Honolulu. You can book them in anywhere. So now you just broadened your horizon out unbelievably. Okay, so yes, Chuck.
I was just going to say, my meeting yesterday, we had our main program was from two folks from Kosovo.
Wow.
Our discovery was,
Yeah.
though, that Zoom isn't open to the pro side of Zoom. And I don't know what for. Anyway, but we worked around it. We found out the free site actually allowed it for some reason. So anyway, that's how we had to meet. Yesterday was on the free side, so we were limited to the 40 minutes. But it seems that you just have to when you're setting it up, or let's say when we set it up with them, we went in and found out, oh, that's not going to work. Kosovo was just a limited country. England or Canada, we have folks attend from Canada every week. But anyway, so it does work though.
Okay, cool. So Lorraine, did you have a question? I see your hand raised there. Did you have a question? No?
I threw it in the chat and it got answered, so thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. How about you, Sharon? Did you have a question? Okay, cool. All right, so now you can use, and I love this picture because there's Mariko and Joanne. You can use online meetings to grow your membership because part of what has been traditionally kind of challenging for Rotary is getting people to come to a meeting in the morning. Ours is at Tuesday at 12 o'clock, which I can't think of a more inopportune time than Tuesday at 12 o'clock to come to a meeting. But now if your meetings are online, now they can, if they're available, they're at home, they're at work. A lot of our members, since we started online meetings, they're at their desk at work and they're coming to the meetings. So I believe that this is a tremendous opportunity for us to grow membership because we now have that online access. Even if people people aren't able to come to it regularly every week, if they chime in every once in a while. We have a satellite club as part of our group, and we have a special last week of the month where the satellite guys come in, and we have it at a different time, 5:30 in the afternoon, which makes it more convenient for people who are working. But now you have the opportunity to get super creative and do some stuff with membership that you couldn't do before. Yeah. Anybody else using Zoom or online platform to do some stuff with membership? We were talking. I was talking with Paul Field because he's my neighbor over here, and he was talking about his little his group that's Friends of Rotary, which are talk a little bit about that, Paul, for a second, because I don't think a lot of clubs have something like that.
Yeah, we've had it for quite some time. We've got people who like what Rotary does. They want to participate in our road cleanups and other service projects we do. But for a number of different reasons, they don't really want to become members. So they are our friends of Rotary. They get emails about everything we're doing. They pay no dues. They have no obligations. But this morning when we had our road cleanup, 3 of them showed up at 8 o'clock this morning to go out and help clean the highway up here. They help with our events. And we're a small community. Everybody knows everybody else. And these are people who see what we're doing. And they don't really want or have the time to join Rotary, but they want to participate.
Yeah.
So we basically have this informal friends of Rotary. And we actually have had people who have been in the club, will drop out, join the friends for a while, and then come back into the club later on. So it gives them that option. But it's very informal. It's not an official Rotary thing of any sort. But we have a little form they fill out if they want to be a friend of Rotary. So we have all their information. And since we are a small club, in this case, it almost doubles the number of people who call in if we're doing stuff.
That's awesome. Okay, Paul, thanks a lot. So, and then you can use online meetings to host special events or groups. So, you know, part of, now we did this in person, but, you know, we could have done it online too, is we hosted a community meeting about COVID-19 in February before it was really serious outbreak where people wanted to know a lot about it. So we just put it out there. We put it in the paper. We say, hey, we're hosting this meeting. The State Department of Health came in, Hilo Medical came in with their staff, and we had 80 people at the meeting. So it was an amazing thing. And you can, you know, like if you have some special, you know, speaker, if, you know, somebody's uncle is, you know, Colin Powell or something, and he wants going to speak at your meeting, you can put that thing out there and just say, hey, you know, we're having, you know, President Obama is staying in your guest house and he wants to speak at your meeting. Put it out there. And if he doesn't mind, you know, 3,000 guys coming into the meeting, you can have a huge meeting and, you know, utilize it as a membership recruiting thing. Like this meeting today is being presented by, you know, Rotary Club of South Hilo. This is what we do. You guys are interested. We put a link to our website in the chat. You know, we'd love to talk with you guys if you want to hang out after the meeting, you know, whatever it is. So this group right here is a group that came from Russia in our peace exchange last fall. This is actually Doug Adams. It's on the call. This is his house, and we hosted these guys. And you know, this is something that if they were here now, we probably have a bunch of them on a Zoom call, and you know, kind of talk about what they're doing. They all come from different cities in Russia, so lots of different things that you can do. Be creative. Okay, there's you know, we have a tremendous opportunity now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. We have a tremendous opportunity now to do all kinds of stuff because now we have this tool that we haven't had before. I know at the beginning we're all kind of bemoaning, oh my God, it's online, and you know, it's going to be super hard. But I think we can work it together. I think the efforts that a lot of you guys are doing. I mean, I think everybody wants to come and do in-person meetings, and I hope we can kind of get to that. I think everybody, it seems like the consensus is everybody's sort of shooting for the 1st of July, which I think is great. But I think the advent of online meetings, its reach, its impact is going to be here to stay. And so I think that it's important that we integrate it into it. So I haven't had a chance to kind of look at the chat. Naomi, did you look through there? Is there anything we need to answer that we didn't answer? Okay.
Yeah, there are several things. So Nancy's asking if they can get a recorded copy so they can share it.
Yep.
And then, oh, there was a question about if you left the meeting and you came back in, is it the same meeting code? Can you get in?
Yes, you can come back in, but you still have to be, you know, admitted back into the meeting. So the host still has to allow you back into the meeting if you. And what I would do, you guys in your Pro Zoom accounts is to activate that waiting room. That's super important for security. Now I know people don't like to do passwords because they can't remember them, and it's just a pain in the ass. But those are two levels of security that if you're concerned that somebody's going to, charge into your meeting or be in there, unauthorized, then you can put those two things in. But I definitely recommend the waiting room. So like if you have a big event, for example, like if you're going to sponsor like some really important speaker, and like when we had Mark Maloney as a speaker on one of our Thursday meetings. So we had almost 100 people on it. So we just had everybody stay in the waiting room, and then at 12 o'clock when the meeting started, I just clicked this button that says admit all, and they all come in. They can all come in at one time, and then you see all these faces popping up on your screen. So if you guys are using Zoom, I recommend that you go on and do that zoom.us/support and start going through those tutorials, because it'll tell you way more. I mean, I just kind of glossed over the surface of it. But if you want to get into the detail of it, I didn't even talk about breakout rooms. So if you have a pro account, you can do breakout rooms, and this is a super cool thing. So like if you had 50, like we've had them during our trainings, we have 50 or 60 people on a call, and we want to break them down into 10 groups of 5 people. I can hit this breakout rooms thing, and it asks me, how many breakout rooms do you want? I'll say I want 10, and they say, oh, there's 60 people, so there'll be 5 people in each room. I can either put them in there manually, which I don't recommend because it takes a long time, or I can hit it. I can just put automatically, and I click it, and then randomly you get separated into a small breakout room where you can have conversations. And in our PE trainings, we've used that quite a bit, and it'll actually reshuffle it every time. So if you wanted to do a breakout room and then bring them all back, and then okay, the next question is, and then you hit it, it'll randomly divide everybody again. So that is kind of a cool thing. So I'm gonna stop talking now because I'm talking for a long time, and I'm gonna let Wes ask a question.
Well, I can hear the Koki frogs all of a sudden.
Yeah, I know. How's that? Yeah, they go.
Yeah.
They go over.
When you mentioned about throwing people out of the meeting, do you mean that little green shield on the upper left corner?
Yeah, so down at the bottom of mine, I have this thing. It says security. I don't know. So if you have a pro account, there's this, a little like a shield, and it's next to participants, and it has security. Okay, so when I click on this, then a menu comes up, and it says, okay, here are the choices. It says lock meeting. All right, now lock meeting means when I hit that, nobody can get in the meeting. Okay, the meeting's locked. People can get out, but you can't get in. Okay, okay, and then I can allow people to share a screen. I can hit it. I can allow people to rename themselves. So I'll make sure everybody got the right name, and then I can remove participants. And so when I click remove participant, then it gives me a list of people. I look for Wes Munn. Look that Wes is gone in a second. Now, under there's also this thing called report, and the report, basically, if you click that, it'll give you a report like how long the meeting was, who the participants were. Like it'll say like Chuck Rose. It'll say when Chuck logged on, when Chuck logged out, all the questions that were asked, everything. So if you need, if you're that kind of person that needs to know everything, you click on report and you get that report. Okay, Sharon, you had a question, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Paul that said that has the Friends of Rotary.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Paul, did you add that in your bylaws, or is that an informal category of membership? Or
it was, at one point, it was in our bylaws, and it probably still is. I haven't looked at them recently, but you can put it in the bylaws because that way you know that it's there and you know what you're doing. But it basically gives us the advantage, basically manpower more than anything else. And actually our latest person saw on our website that we do a road cleanup. He emailed me And when I was talking to him, I said, look, we do other stuff. And do you want to be a friend of Rotary? I put him down and he was there this morning. So it's, for us as a small club, it is really important as far as getting us more backs, more labor to get things done.
Do you count them as volunteer hours if you do reporting in RI?
We count them in our volunteer hours, but not RIs. I'd have to find out if we can count them in RIs.
Yeah,
I don't know if
you
we can or
can.
not, but we do not.
You can count them. Please
Oh, you can count them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool, yeah.
If we can, then that will increase our volunteer hours considerably.
Hey, by
That's
the
a great
way, if you have Club Runner, you can add in non-Rotarians onto the Club Runner so that if you want to send emails to them, you can put them in a group of non-members.
Yeah, we actually have a separate, on my computer, I have a separate email account for all of our friends so that we can let them know. And I think it was Lorraine asked earlier, we also do invite them when we have speakers. We let them know we're having speakers and invite them to come if they're interested in what the speakers can be talking about.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a terrific idea. Clarence, you had a question.
Yeah, Benson, were you going to cover how to take surveys and votes also on, you can set that up?
Well, I'll go over it real quick, but you can do it. Yeah. So on the pro accounts, next to participants and between participants and chat, there's a little thing that says polls, right? So I can hit polls, and what it'll do, it'll allow me a screen where I can write a question, right? All right, so the question could be, how many of you are planning to start online meetings in July? All right, so then I hit distribute poll, so it goes out to all of you, and then it tallies up what the votes are immediately. So I would put that question out, and you would get it up on your screen. It would say Benson sending you a poll, right? And so you click on that and open up the screen, and the question would be, how many of you are having online meetings in July? And you would put yes or no, right? And then the results, what I would be able to see the results, like, so there's 14 participants, and if everybody voted in the poll, I could see 7 are going to do it and 7 aren't going to do it, and then I have the ability to share that information with the people in the meeting. So yeah, that's a kind of a cool thing, but I don't believe it's on the free accounts. I think you have to have either a pro business or enterprise account to do polls. Now, what I will tell you in polls is that you can set those questions up all ahead of time. So if there's like 4 or 5 questions you want to ask the group, you can hit polls, and then it'll bring up the questions that you put. You press it, it sends it out to everybody that's in the meeting. Okay, and then it gives you immediate feedback. Like as soon as if Chuck votes yes, as soon as he says yes, that it immediately logs that vote into it, so I can see the results of that. So if I said, okay, how many of you guys have a club trainer? I can see it like right away. I put it out on the poll, you vote on it, or you say yes or no, and I can see that right away. So that is a super cool thing with Zoom. That if you have a pro account or higher, then you can do stuff like that if that's valuable for you. So surveying and polling is really it's the big thing now. So in terms of being able to direct where the meeting is going to go. What was that called again, Naomi?
Polls.
They covered that in PETS. Design learning, right? Design learning?
Design thinking.
Design thinking, okay. Yeah, design thinking is where, you're figuring it out kind of as you go. So any other questions? We're over like the 8 o'clock, but I'll keep talking as long as people want to ask questions. Go ahead, Wes.
I have a question for Naomi. I know there was talk about the clubs that are using the district account. Is it preferable to the district that all the clubs have their own accounts, or come June 30th, does the district accounts I guess, stop working?
Well, we still have them, and so you guys need to let us know if you still need it, and we can extend it a couple of months. But if you want it the whole year, I think you should get your own. But look into free conference calls too, because you can do videos on that too, and it's free, and you can go longer than 40 minutes. Because HRYF uses free conference call.
Yeah. Nancy, you had a question?
Yes, I like the Friends of Rotary, although I want to reach out a little bit to maybe Naomi or somebody smarter than me. What could that do to our insurance, for our club insurance, in terms of our possible exposure of a quote volunteer who injures somebody or gets injured? So I think we maybe want to make sure that anybody showing up signs a waiver or whatever. And I don't know what our insurance covers, but I just that got me thinking. So that, and the other thing under etiquette, maybe you want to help remind people, like my computer is on this camera. I mean, my camera is on this computer, but I'm really looking at this bigger screen because I have duals everywhere I go. And because anyway, so people, I think also it'll be nicer when people really think about, okay, what's everybody seeing? Of course they see the reflection of glasses and stuff, but they also see all my garbage in the back and they see my whatever, so that might be part of what you might add to etiquette, is like, look at you, like, would you want to look at, would you want to look at yourself, kind of an idea of because sometimes too, it's sort of distracting or it's interesting. So instead of paying attention to the speaker, I'm paying attention to everybody's background and their artwork sometimes. And obviously the backdrops are really neat, but sometimes then their own vision is kind of distorted when they have the backdrops. Stuff. So there's pros and cons. So just more things to think about under etiquette. But anyway, just 2 cents worth. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I love these. I haven't been to too many of your nighttime trainings.
Yeah.
So regarding the insurance, actually, if you get the insurance from Rotary, it doesn't cover Rotarians. It covers non-Rotarians. So your people, your friends of people are covered. But if you want to cover Rotarians, you should look into getting your own insurance policy. But having that waiver is a good thing. Yeah.
Lorraine, you had a question?
No, I have a comment. One of the things that Zoom did is that if you're related to education, that they're offering they extended the 45 minutes. But the other thing is, if any of the clubs has a 501c3 nonprofit status, TechSoup.org offers Zoom at a reduced price. Just passing it on if,
Yeah. So the district Zoom is on TechSoup. We get it through them. It's cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, and remember now, I mean, if your club goes ahead and gets a Zoom account, you can use it for way more than just having your meetings. I mean, you can have your board meetings. You can put out, presentations out there to the public. You can have community meetings. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you could, you can have, reunions. So you're only limited by your own creativity. So there's a lot that you could do. I mean, look at the district. I mean, we have Zoom happy hour. Okay, we've had where everybody's like drinking or playing music, and I mean, that's creative use of Zoom, right? So you could have Zoom happy hour in your club. Yes, Rico.
Well, the most amazing one that I attended was the E-Club's drag queen bingo Zoom.
Drag queen, yeah.
I was
drag queen
amazed.
bingo. Yeah.
And they raised so much money.
Yeah, there we go. So, I mean, it's a powerful tool as well. So beyond just, having a meeting, you can do drag queen bingo. So yes, Clarence.
Yeah, I think another thing, isn't it required for everyone that you're sending the Zoom out have to have a Google email account?
Nope.
Okay.
Anybody actually I mean, you don't even have to have an account. Like if you can be on your phone, and if you click on that,
right.
Yeah, it'll take you right to there. So, okay. Here's what I'm going to do, folks. I'm going to start winding it up here. Unless anybody has, I'm going to take one more question. Okay, cool. Naomi, you have any final things you want to say?
I
No?
want to say thank you, Benson, for everything.
Okay,
Thank you,
cool.
everybody, for being here.
So I will, you know, take a while for this recording to, you know, get itself in video form, but I will send a link out to it as soon as I get it up on YouTube, right, Naomi? Okay. Yeah, Naomi is like my Rotary mom. Okay. All right, everybody. So so here's the etiquette, right? So I'm going to say, okay, the meeting's over, and I'm gonna give about 30 seconds, and I'm gonna press it, and we're all gonna disappear. So you can say now you can open your mic and say, hey, Chuck, see you later. Wes, take care. Okay, Lonnie, I see you at the beach. You know, whatever. Okay. Now you can just like go for it. Okay, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks a lot for tuning in tonight.
Thanks, Benson.
Yeah.
Great meeting, Benson.
Okay, yeah, this is one of my funner ones. You know, even Doug came. You know, Doug comes to all my meetings. This is like the
I
ninth.
come to all your meetings, brother.
Yeah, he does. I mean, this is like our 9th meeting this week or whatever. I lose track of them already, but it's cool. You know what's super cool is that to see all my friends.
Go eat dinner.
Like Nancy and I see Lorraine. I see all the Hilo people, which is kind of
Good seeing Wes.
yeah.
Bye,
Good
Wes.
seeing. Okay, Wes.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming, Lonnie. I'll see you guys soon.
Crack me up.
Okay. Good night.